All right. New week, and it's been 2 weeks since I've streamed. I was definitely planning on streaming last week, and it just didn't happen. I was sick. I think the main thing was I was sick, and my voice just wasn't going to work for streaming last week. And then the week before that, I was trying to get ready for District Arcade, and so I decided just to go heads down, to just do nothing but just code fast, code hard. And District Arcade was fun. It was a mixed bag, though. On the one hand, the VR app didn't really work the way I intended. It would work for me, but then if I took the headset off and tried to give it to somebody else, like it just... I don't know. I don't know if it was the lighting in the space or whatnot. But anyway, that was annoying. But I had tons of great conversations with people about the app. And I left with a ton of notes and a lot of inspiration. I felt like... I mean, yeah, I think the trend is still continuing that like a third to a half of people I talk to about this app immediately get excited. And some people got really excited and said some pretty great things. So I feel like I've got clear direction. So I think today what we need to do is like first, like let's triage the code that I like quickly scrambled and coded up. I took a week off from coding this altogether, so I haven't touched this code in a week. But the prior week, right before District Arcade, I left the code in a state of sorts. So let me decide how much of this I want to merge, and then I think what we're going to do is move on to, you know, I've started now the process of putting on the headset and trying to read a book by myself with it. And then when I do and then do that for like, 5 to 10 minutes, read a couple pages, and then write down what are like the three things, either like follow the fun, what three things would make this more enjoyable, or what what's something that sucks, right? That's just not working right, and write those down and just pick three. And then from the three, go fix something. I think I'll probably start with like, what is the easiest of the three things to rectify? So I did it this morning again, and the three things I came up with were when it's trying to detect the page, it's taking too long. Hold on. I think my audio is like super quiet. Right. I think it's supposed to be like... Yeah. 12. It's about good. Yeah, so I think page detection is like kind of sort of like taking too long, or at least it doesn't tell you what's wrong. It'll just sit there and tell you that the book is too far away from the camera. And sometimes that's not even the issue, I think. Sometimes I think it's even too close to the camera. And then I think there is sort of an issue where it'll do better if both pages are visible, but if you're just like lasered in and looking at one page, it doesn't do very well. So I think I want to fix that a little bit. The second thing I wrote down was that right now I have the book anchoring to your left hand. And that's kind of what I want to resolve with this object tracking. Because if we can actually follow the book in 3D space, then we don't need to care about whether or not it's in your hand or not. So I want to try to solve that. And then the third thing was like, for whatever reason this morning, the OCR was bad. I think it might have been the lighting. I did get one good round of OCR on the text. But yeah, for a couple minutes there, I guess it's also like bad OCR that is the issue, but really it's... we have like no like recovery like mechanism or like fast rescan of like, let's call it page 1 chunk 1. Which I had thought about before, like, should there be a version of this where, okay, we started OCRing the first page, but like while we're OCRing the first page, we could start OCRing the first page again, right? And get like have a fast follow where we're merging results, and like we very quickly, even if that first scan doesn't produce good results, like a few seconds after that, we've got a rescan of the first scan coming in, and then we can merge and error correct and do all those things. So, and then let me talk out loud here for a minute about the book being anchored to your left hand. So that was a little hack that I did. Can I even show? No, not really. I mean, I guess I can show it here. Also, I have this up like this. I probably could not have the YouTube version here, but it's fine. So the little hack trick here is I anchor the book to your hand and I force the book to be facing upward, like comes directly off your palm. I have thought about, like, the one hack fix would be, instead of having it come directly off your palm, I could have it facing mostly vertical, right? So you can orient your hand in different ways. And so the book would be anchored to your hand, but it wouldn't, the orientation of the book wouldn't anchor to the hand, if that makes sense. So you can see here, like in this video, it only works because I'm actually kind of holding my palm skyward. So I could fix that. That might be a quick fix. And then the one thing is I thought about, I was like, well, anchoring it to your hand is kind of a hack. But I actually kind of liked it. You know, right now I'm working through a heavy book. It's like the completed works of H.P. Lovecraft. So it's everything he's ever written. It's a heavy book. So when the OCR scans that book, I actually put the book down and then just hold my hand resting on an armrest in front of me. And that's very comfortable for reading that page. And then I've also thought about, you know, if this is an accessibility app, an app that helps people who have vision and cognitive issues as well, that this app could help those. You know, you imagine there's got to be some people who maybe have hand issues. Could be, you know, just to keep one simple example, maybe like shaky hand, right? Like their hand kind of shakes a bit. And so for them, reading could be a challenge maybe, because even just holding a book could be a challenge. So that's where, do I want to, my instinct was to track the book in your vision and then mirror that in 3D space. Maybe we don't want to do that. I mean, I thought about that as a user settings option, where maybe it does that by default, but then you could have it, I guess, you know, there's a number of ways you could do it. You could anchor it in space in front of you, like I was doing with the debug mode, where the book would just literally anchor in your vision, and wherever your eyes looked, the book would be. I could see some people liking that, because then you could scan a book and then lay down on your back and look up at the ceiling, and you could be reading just fine. And then you'd only pick up the book. I mean, you could keep your page by just resting it on your chest, and then only lift the book with your hands when you want to scan a new page. That could work. So I guess there's, yeah. Let me take a look at Notion. I don't know if I'm gonna, well, maybe I will do this, I don't know. Let me add a task here. So, book tracking options. I'll say it's a new task. Fine. Maybe give the user multiple options for how we track the book. And that could be, yeah, let's do that. One would be to track the book and display it wherever it actually is. Two would be user can put the book down and we track left or right hand for reading. reading. And then the third option would be user can put the book down and we just anchor the book in their vision. Line of vision. And those are the three options. I guess I'll have to pick one for now and only do one. Trying to think. I guess some of it, you know, if I follow the fun, I should probably do what I enjoy most. Okay. But also we have the book too far away issue that I cataloged this morning. Let me throw this in the backlog. This strategy for prioritizing environment changes, I'm going to leave this in progress for now, but I'm basically done with that. I know what the strategy is. District Arcade, I'm done with. Let me leave this in progress too, just because I want to take some things out of here and make them new tasks. Fine, I'll drop these down here. All right, and then let me look at this. So this I didn't get to do. This is just optimizing performance. I'm gonna throw this on the back burner because that's that was something I was gonna try to do before demoing it District Arcade in the hopes that it would help stabilize the app, and I just didn't get to it. So I do need to do this, but I'll wait until either it's a problem for me personally, again, as I follow the fun everyday testing, or when I'm getting ready to do it like another possible live demo. Only OCR one page at a time. User's only going to be looking at one page anyway. Right. Okay, let me move that into progress. I'm going to add a task here. I'm going to bring it into progress, which is going to be... I think I have it somewhere over here as well, but only anchor position to hand. So I'm going to mark that as like a quick fix. So that's a quick fix to improve reading. Title pages don't work. This is one that, I mean, sometimes they don't work. That's kind of related to this issue of not tracking the book properly. Okay, this I think is actually the same thing as the one I just added, so. Okay, let me do some small things then. But I did want to, and I already promised with the stream title to work on tracking objects. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to make a liar out of myself, because I did start prototyping that on my MacBook. And the approach I wanted to take isn't quite working just yet. All right. Let's see where we are at code-wise. Why is this up? Go away. All right. We got rid of some logging. Yeah, I did this because I was trying to see what was wrong. I was trying to investigate something, and that wasn't working. So let me undo that. I had this up. Whoa. Okay, fine. All right, fine. Leave that up. Right. So let's bring that back, and we'll get rid of the pass. And then page text. What was that change? Page text.gd. In clear existing page. Right, okay, so since we're clearing the existing page, we reset our Y back to the default, and we set it to 0, which means since we're doing that, right, we're calling that function. We don't need to do that down here. Which means other places we call this function. Okay, that's all well and good. Y is... no, stop being weird. Fine. We'll go to there. Since this bottom thing is anchoring and won't go away. Okay. Slash add files.sh. Does add files.sh add itself? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. Small tweaks. All right, let's go code review this and then hopefully merge it unless I see something I really don't like. Let me refresh that. Okay, so this is the... Let's go ready for review. So turn off volumetric fog, I did that. Clear book text when page switches, I did that. Sound manager listens for emotions. In fact, I even have all the emotions covered. So I got all that in here. Only clear book sound, etc. if user puts down hand for more than a few seconds. See, I had that, and then I think I turned that off because it didn't quite work. Because right now, when I tested this morning, if I put my hand down for even a half second, it just immediately goes away. I thought this would help with demoing, but it ended up being janky. I think I removed it. Let me go see. Don't restart music from the beginning if they are opening a book. If they are opening their hand again quickly. Just preload both scenes and toggle between them. I think I did that and I don't like it. It still doesn't work well. Or maybe it did. No, it did work. It really annoyed me. Okay, fine. So we created our empty environment, which is just kind of foggy. I don't think I've shown that on stream yet, so maybe I'll try to get some video of that. Right, and so this is listening for the enable environment signal, which they all now have. And it has its scene. I got rid of volumetric fog, which actually helped things. Apparently volumetric fog doesn't work on the renderer I'm using. These were wrong, which is funny. Evening is, evening is 6 p.m., which would be 1800. 1800 hours, not 6. This confused me. I was like, I think I had like nighttime as 9. I'm like, why is this not working? Yeah, so this is able to like turn itself off, which kind of helps a bit. All right, this is fine. All fine, all fine. Yeah, I deleted those. I hate that I'm going to say this, but it's probably true. I think what I'm probably going to do is nuke the nature scene, the one that you're seeing on the right here. I hate to admit it, but that probably needs to die. I think it's a distraction. I mean, I'll probably bring it back eventually, but I think it is a distraction, and I don't think it causes more problems than it solves. And I think I should focus on the empty scene and just focus on an environment that matches emotion instead of trying to bring in nature elements. Just lean in hard on the emotion aspect of things, and yeah, get that working well. So I may just completely kill that scene. And then the whole, like, dual loading the scenes and everything. Yeah, see, this is because I couldn't get the transition work. I wasted so much time trying to get it to transition between scenes and, like, dynamically load whichever, like, basically, if we needed to change scenes, if we are in the empty scene and we detected that it's a nature scene and we should transition you, I kind of had it working, but it would freeze up. Like, there'd be some freezing and hanging for a few seconds. And I spent a bunch of time trying to get it to, like, lazily load the new scene, lazily add it to the environment, and then when it did add it to the environment, then, like, do a fade to black, turn off the old scene, bring up the new one, and it just still didn't work. I've since done some research that I think there is a path to doing it, but I wonder if it's just a waste of time for now. If I really should just focus on, again, like, the one theory is that if the app is doing its job right, you forget that it's there. And all this nature stuff is more resource heavy on the VR headset anyway. So, as much as I hate to admit it, maybe what I should do is just nuke the nature scene, focus on the empty one, and focus on all the aspects of the environment that involve not distracting you from the act of reading. And sidestep all these issues for now. And probably move over into it. So maybe what I'll do is I might merge this PR as is, but in a few days, I'll probably circle back and break out a new PR where, you know, I could put the nature stuff into its own PR to maybe be merged again later. But, like, this, like, load environment thing, well, I probably should disable it, but yeah, this thing just doesn't work. Yeah, what was this doing? Yeah, this was trying to do the whole, yeah, fade to black worked, call queue free, process a frame. Okay, well then we load the scene, and it would, like, freeze here, I think. Didn't matter what we did. I even tried, like, lazy. And again, I think I've done news research where maybe there's a path forward on this, but I just wonder if that's just not worth my time. So, I don't know. Curious if anybody has an opinion. But yeah, I'll probably just rip it out. Yeah, and so then I did the hacky thing of just loading them both in all the time. Yeah. And then this Why was this needed? I thought we already had a trigger for switch to VR. And then brought in a bunch of music. Made a tweak here to see if I could lower the error rate of this page titles being chosen. Minor tweak. Okay, and then clearing pages. This was all buggy, but I think I got that working. Couldn't understand. I got stuck in a weird state there too, and I think I in the last couple weeks I've learned so much about the Godot engine that I didn't understand before. Unfortunately, I learned these lessons the hard way of like stumbling through and not understanding why something wasn't working. I think in this case, it's weird where like sometimes you call a function and it's not async, and other times it is. So in this case, like when this function would run, if it was a new page, I would say clear the existing page. And the thing is, it would move on to the next steps. It would move on to adding, where is it? We'd be adding a new label child onto that node tree, if you will, before we actually got to the deletion. And so then we would like get children and then we would remove child. And it was like, whatchamacallit? Yeah, then we would have the issue where like we would get an error. We would get an error here because like label didn't exist anymore because it had been deleted. And so the solution was you have to await that. If I actually want that to be synchronous, not async. But it's weird. I feel like sometimes in Godot, like you can just call a function and it'll like it's like regular Python or something. It'll just call the function, do its thing, and then come back. But sometimes it's actually async. And I wonder if it's because when this is called, this is async. So since this is happening off of a signal, my theory is then it's not blocking the main thread. Like it's kind of happening in parallel. Like, not parallel, but, with its own like process tree steps and things like that to happen. Which actually, come to think of it, this is probably not needed anymore. Since I'm doing an await here, I'm now... I mean, also, these things do nothing, so that might not be needed. And then the other issue being, I had self.removeChild instead of the container. That was also a problem. I think this was really the reason why I was having the issue of like writing text on top of text, because I never actually removed it. I then had this like clearing page check. If we're gonna await it, I think I actually do need that. Let me not nuke it just yet. So Sound Manager, I brought in music, a bunch of different music, and then each emotion has at least one song. So if we're feeling the right emotion, we'll just switch to that music. Hey Scroll, how's it been? Been a few weeks, haven't been streaming. I was saying earlier that there was District Arcade a couple weeks ago, so to prep for that, I just decided not to stream that week. And just go heads down. And then last week I was sick, so my voice was just not in a place where I was going to stream last week. So we update the music only if it's the final chunk of a page. Okay. Resume music. Okay, so most of this is fine. I guess we can merge this as is. think the only thing I'm going to do is fix this. What file are we in? Main? Right. So if we load environment, we were calling it from a few spots. Fine. All right, so what I'll do, I'll get rid of this load environment function. But I'm going to leave it there for a hot moment. And then in like a day or two, I'll probably like actually move it out into some other branch that'll never get merged. And that's including this like loading both environments. Maybe I'll just go ahead and disable the nature scene right now. Let's just do it. We got some weird close, and then can I open main again? Let's see. All right, that should have fixed it. Right, so let's do that. So now we just have the one. So I'll have this logic here. I won't rip this out, but for now we're only ever going to have one environment, and we're never going to change it. So do we even use this anywhere? No. These weren't needed anymore, right? Because I had made I switched it to being a dictionary, which is the environment scenes. Sure. And then I think on game state, yeah, let me just turn this off. So right now we were just doing like a simple count of nature keywords. And as long as if we found a couple of those, then we would switch us to the nature environment. For now, I'm just going to use empty only. Just keep us there. Again, this is a much more performant environment, so this may help me figure out some of the issues with OCR in terms of its speed and performance. So I think it leaves maybe for a couple weeks. I may have buyer's remorse on this and bring nature back, but for now, let's do that. And then what's all this? Oh, is new page is never used. Fine. Is final chunk is used. Okay. Is new page isn't used here either. Fine. Started with an underscore. New height. Yeah, fine. I'll bring that back at some point, I'm sure. Cool. And then let us run the test suite just so we get metrics and log it. Let's see here. Well, let's just do a build all. And then we'll run tests. Cool. Now, if I did want to go down the route of new object tracking, do I have a PR for that? These two should just get deleted. Stereo images, no, that's different. To chunk image, no. Composition layer was buggy for some reason. Upgrading to 4.5 failed. I need to revisit this because 4.5 proper. I'm not technically on 4.5. I'm on one of the release candidates. Switching to 4.5 proper would actually be nice if I can do it. Spell checker utility. Okay. I am going to just call this District Arcade Fixes. And then let me edit this. Bring that out. Fine. This is probably ready, right? Yeah, run all the tests, run all the things. I will say, we'll just say disable nature environ for now. Book always clears when put down. Temporary. Also temporary logic. Speaking of, yeah, what did I have here? Biggest bug is we don't get text after closing and opening a new book. Biggest bug is we don't get text. Yeah, okay, so that's a bug. I just don't feel like fixing it right now. I want to move on to something new. How's the test suite doing? $78.65. Let's see here. 78.65. Okay. Nothing really new there. Let me grab that. Yeah, that's fine. This one scores a 0. I really should fix that. And I need to push up code, right? Let's add all those files. Some cleanup. The other tests run too. Interesting. Okay, and it's doing like left and right. All right, maybe I'll... Yeah, let me think what my next move is going to be. Too many decisions, too many paths I could go down. All right, so this is done, fine. Let's squash and merge. This one can be closed. Oh yeah, this is like the dynamically loading environment thing. I'll keep this around as a reminder to myself because this never worked the way I wanted it to. I was getting stuttering and such. Yeah, alright, let me keep that around at least for a little bit. And decide what to do with it. Oh, right. So this is better book detection. What did I do here? Right, that's where these new... Oh yeah, I made a bunch of files in this one. Okay, I guess I could look at this and see... Yeah, this is all like pushed up as backup. I never cleaned it up. But yeah, I do wonder if... I think I probably have notes here for it, right? What is this? Oh, right. I just dumped all my notes from District Arcade here. I need to finish that off. I gotta like take my notes from District Arcade and translate them into action items. Excuse me. Yeah, let me bring that over to here. Yeah, let me look at those two together. Let me see here. Page 2 OCR is a separate thread. Unit testing. I got unit testing working. Page header and footer. Don't use mobile renderer. Yeah, I knew that. Well, okay, so this is interesting. Now, if I do get rid of the nature scene, I may be able to just switch to compatibility, which I think is what you're supposed to do. That, like, that'll run the best on the VR headset, and I wonder if that'll improve things. Don't use label 3D. Binarized pass-through. Oh, yeah, that's cute. I don't think I'm going to do that for a while. Fresh look at text detection. Now, what I have is good enough. I mean, I'm getting it 98% when it runs well, so... This is bottlenecks. Yeah, that's also like something I don't really want to do for a while. This is true. I am above 95. Yeah, I don't know if I care about this either. Merge left and right cameras has potential for like denoising and improving quality. Godot 4.5, book tracking options. Okay, so this got merged, right? Let me close Godot since it's never happy when I change branches. git checkout main, git pull origin main. Okay. I am really sick of these things. So, you know what? I'm going to follow the fun with coding today. I'm going to code on whatever the heck I feel like. We do vim.getIgnore. So I wonder if I can remove, probably should be able to. Let's leave that commented out for the moment. And then where's the other one? Second one, right? Okay, now can we do like git remove? Gotcha. And then let me grab the other one again. Could have done that first. Git remove. There. Okay. So now I've removed them from source control. I don't think they belong. They are this little squiggly curly thing. I think they're used Windows only, and I think it's like when Godot launches, it ends up loading an instance of the library into memory for the Godot editor to run. I think that's what's happening effectively. And so it's a file I don't need. It's like a So let's see what this does here. Let's drag that over. Interesting. So it brought it back. So now I've got two copies of the file. Well, one is the checked in version, well, staged file. That is the deletion of those two files. And then the other is the new copy generated by Godot. So actually, this is great now. So let me try to do git ignore. And let's see if I can do add-ons slash star slash squiggle star dot dll. I don't know if that's going to work. No. If I do slash star, well, because in this case it's 1, 2, 1, 2. I guess they are both 1, 2, 2 deep, which is not great. See, I try to do this. Now they're gone. Okay, so this one works, but it's a little ugly. Can I do add-on slash star slash squiggle star? Basically the same thing I did for... Yeah, why do I have two project-specific ones? That's not right. I'll fix that. No, now they're back. So that's ChatGPT. In a .git ignore file, how can I ignore the following situation? I have a, now fine, I'll make it a proper question. I have an add-ons folder which has many folders and subfolders inside of it. Somewhere in some of those folders will be a file that starts with squiggle. I want to ignore all such files. Is there an efficient way to do this? I think I know the answer. Like, once I see it, I'll know it right away because I've done it before. Star. Yeah, okay. I should have tried that. I think that crossed my mind. So star is basically going to say however many, like, when you do like a regex like this, it's like dot star will match any character any number of times. You could do like a star will catch like the letter A any number of times. In this case, I think like star is saying like it catch anything. Like I kind of had that here. I should just gotten rid of the slash because it's basically saying any character any number of times until we get to this signature, which is like a slash and a squiggle. Once it finds slash squiggle, then ignore anything you find after that. And there we go. Cool. So that'll, yeah. That will work. So even if there's a new add-on that only has one folder instead of two, like this would have worked for the two folders, right? But the second I have another add-on that puts this file somewhere else, and then this also should work, the .dll. Yeah. So I'll leave the .dll here just because just in case there's some other weird file, I at least want to see it first before I decide to exclude it. I don't want to be too greedy with this exclusion. But that works. And then let me bring these up. Have some scons and Godot specific, and then Godot 4 specific. Okay. All right, good enough. You can get banned. Thank you. All right, sip of coffee. Take a quick look. All right, let's get back to it. Let me pause that. All right, so that was an annoyance. Let me just focus on, then, book detection improvements. A number of them. So I think in many ways, there we go. Here's the HUD. That's a scene, right? Yeah, here's the HUD scene. There we go. I'm gonna go up a bit, closer a bit, and let's do that. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here to VS Code. book text scanner. Yeah, I'm going to focus on right now for the moment just improving our checking of things. I'm talking gibberish. What I mean is, like, OCRs, I want to make it faster. I want to speed up how we detect text. I want to speed up our response time to the user. And I don't necessarily need to improve anything with OCR for that. I can just communicate with the user better. And that user being me, which will make it quicker and faster to fix these issues. So, let's see here. Where am I? Here we go. So failure reason. So we have process page here. So we always process the left page first, and then we try to process the right page. And I think that's where I've occasionally gotten into trouble where, let me just turn off right page for now. That's gonna break some tests actually, because I've got some tests that are reliant on that working. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my head right about, like, how do I want to keep track of these pages. So when we come in here, so we have a page size that we want. And it's got to be rectangular enough. I think I did decrease this. Let me see that. Book text scanner. Oops. Source. Do blame. Two months ago, I swear I did that more recently. Was this when we first introduced it? Yeah, okay. I guess I did drop the score a little bit. Still not enough, it feels like. So I want to communicate better. Right now I've got it as we only say it's too far away or it's not flat. Maybe I should reverse that. Because flatness, I think, matters more than anything else. Let's drop this down to 200. So I'll drop this until it hurts, basically. Until I start getting quality issues. And then I can increase it again. So, fine. We'll turn that off. We'll do string failure reason. Equals, yeah, we'll do the rectangularity version. If that's true, then it's page not flat. Else, we'll do look too far away. So if nothing else, we'll get the book not flat issue more often. Which flatness, I think it's more important that you dial in flatness first. And then you figure out the distance away. Because distance is much easier for somebody to intuit. Flatness is not. So that alone might even improve things. I am tempted to say I should tell you all the issues that you're experiencing. But I also don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. Because the way this works is... Yeah, we do some logging. Sorry. Emit OCR status. That's what I was looking for. This is where we put up processing. So this is the OCR status signal. I assume I had that somewhere here in scripts. No, that's going to be on the book, right? Or on the page, rather. Really? Oh, or is it like the HUD? Notification text, right. There we go. Right, so I've got my default text. Default text, but I'm not even using it. Self.text equals default. A little bit silly. On visibility changed. So the second we like hide it or show it, we're going to go back to searching for book. But does that tell us anything? All right, that's probably okay. Yeah, I'm tempted to say, like, we should have multiple statuses, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. All right, fair enough. So let me just trial out that experience there and see if it's better. Now, about the multiple pages, I'll bet you if I run the test suite again, we won't skip because we've got to rebuild. I'm going to get some big failures now. I thought I had some good notes on this. So, yeah, I think I remember going down the rabbit hole of saying that the backend probably needs to keep track of the current state of text, maybe. My brain's a little bit cloudy this morning. All right, but again, let me follow the fun here. So, yeah, we're always getting the book too far away message forever. I have that problem where, like, when it's too close, we don't. We were still saying the book is too far away. Wonder why that was. Yeah, and I think there needs to be a thing maybe where... see, I don't know. I guess I've got that problem where we don't even know what the user's dealing with, right? They could be dealing with a title page where the title is on the right page. No, that's what I said. I think I said that we should only ever care about whichever page is bigger. Because the bigger page, the page that is both flatter and bigger is the one that they are focused on. And that's been one of my gripes with OCRing. In fact, if I think about following the fun, I think that's part of like the mental gymnastics I have to do. It's like, oh, if I want to read the right page, I almost like need both pages to kind of OCR for some reason. So I think, let me go back to my notes then. By the way, how'd the test harness play out? I didn't even finish. Didn't even finish because when I turn this off, it's like sitting here waiting for the signal events from page 2 that are literally never coming. So it's just going to hang here. And then we got our unit tests, which I'll pass. That's good, I guess. I should really start grabbing those again. Like, put them in, well, I need to check them. I don't know, maybe I could do a thing where if these fail, we end the test suite early. Maybe I'll do that. All right. Why not? Let's do a PR that has a bunch of small changes. So if we do run simple tests. So test emotion of text. Where are those? Where are you? Oh, here we go. So we'll do what? Like var passing past bool equals true. And we'll do past equals false. And we'll do return past, which will now return a Boolean. And then we'll do the same thing here. Var past bool equals true. So I would want to do something like past equals, or well, maybe I'll invert it. Failed. So we'll do failed equals or failed. So now I can just do failed equals that or failed. Well, but this is going to be true. Fine, let's do that. Turn Boolean. Return failed. What's your problem? Oh, because there's no return value there. We'll do failed. And failed will be false. see, I did have that. Failed equals true. I just put it in the wrong place, kind of. So, if failed, if one of them fails, it's failed status, so we return failed. And then we bubble that up here. Bring that again in here. Again, failed equals true. And we will return failed. This is expecting a Boolean return now. All the errors go away. Great. Now we have run simple tests. Var failed bool equals that. If simple tests were failed, we just quit. There. And that'll be like, that's just like a simple thing to make it so if our unit tests fail, I won't even do the slow tests. I'll immediately be alerted to some fundamental problem. Like, why even run the bigger, longer, slower tests when something fundamental and basic is failing in the app? Cool. So that's that. Now, let me go look at a task I had here. So, only one page matters at a time. The user is only going to be looking at one page anyway. So whichever page is larger and more square is likely the one they are looking at. So OCR that and skip the other. The only issue with this is that we won't OCR the right page until they look there. Fix for this would be to lazily process the right page as a background thread, separate task on the board. If it's flat and square enough. Still do it, just lower priority. I think I'll go with the simpler approach there. Oh yeah, since I'm doing simple things right now, let me do this real quick. Only anchor position to hand. So, if we're on main, main has the left-hand book anchor, which is a book. So, on process, wait, that's test suite. Here we go, main, here we go. So that environment thing, well, let me bring that up here. There, that way I can at least see the name of the thing that I've closed. We got our fading functions, bunch of other nonsense, switching to AR and VR, fair enough. On text scan, this is interesting, like why shouldn't these... Well, these should be handled as part of like signals here anyway. Fine. I'm making a lot of little changes. I'm sure something will break and then I'll be chasing a bug for a while wondering which of all these tiny little improvements I made broke something. But whatever, it's YOLO Monday, so I'm doing it. So on ready, we wire up a bunch of things. Get our settings. Okay, here we go, on process. So, is hand facing up, maybe holding book? And again, I think with this, it's like we are mostly... As long as it's mostly up, we're good. Let me save. Doesn't this have a... Okay, so book Here we go. Well, the book itself, we adjust its sizing. But that's not its position. And then the book scene is this. But that's just a book. The book can go anywhere if it needs to. So in main, so I anchored it to the hand. Maybe holding book. Oh. Right. So book anchor. Global transform is the pose transform. But that is... property. It's a transform 3D. What is a transform 3D? It's a 3x4 matrix representing a 3D transformation. Okay, that kicked me out over here. I think all I need to do in order to make this one tiny improvement is just to like allow for the transforming, just not the vertical transform. They thoroughly read and understand vector math. Yeah. It's been a while. Remind me again, vector math. Coordinate system. Vector operations. Sure. Okay. I should go back through this at some point. Yeah, like dot products and stuff. It's been a bit since I've delved into that stuff. I'm sure I'll make stupid mistakes by not reading that, but I don't feel like reading it, and I know it well enough that I'll happily make stupid mistakes. So the identity matrix represents a transform with no translation. Yeah, the identity matrix being no matter how many vertical or horizontal, it's just diagonal ones. Yeah, but what about transform 3D? Sign interesting. Huh, okay. I guess it's because it's... I mean, that's how you can get things to be squished or whatnot, maybe? How does it all work in 3D? All the code and formulas used work with 3D, with 3 exceptions. Yep, it's a vector 3. Also, the Godot stores the basis separately from the since the math can get complex. All right, whatever. So the basis and the origin, fine. Let me close that. Where was I? So I could do what? Probably book anchor dot global transform dot in global space relative to the world. If the node is not inside the tree, dot position dot y dot right. So let me try that. I think it's probably X. Hold on. If I go to 3D for like the book scene and I pull this over, no, that's position. So I probably want book anchor dot this is rotate. What does that do? By a given angle in radians. No, I don't want to do that. So maybe it's just its rotation that I want to effectively freeze. So if I go to 3D, then like rotation would be that. So maybe it's Z. So I'll let them do yaw and roll or whatever, but I won't let them do the third one. And then position can be whatever it needs to be, the position in space. It's just the rotation on the Z-axis. I'll just anchor it. I still cannot connect the headset to the desktop here. I really should fix that because that means like if I connect the headset right now, I can't show what happens with all these terrible code changes I just made. Let me back them up though and try a test anyway. So git checkout -b. What do I want to call this? Let's do git diff. Improved git ignore. Kind of got rid of some files. The HUD scene. We moved its transformation. Right, because we want to make that more visible. Right, so it's all like the book messaging position. Okay, so the theme of this is going to be book detection and positioning improvements. That's our theme. We'll add files, git add dot git ignore. Cool. Small improvements to book tracking and position. It's kind of quality of life improvements too. And then add on GitHub. Let's mark this as in progress. And then, yeah, the git ignore, that's fine. Deleting those files. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think these files had like a very tiny... Okay. The HUD, we moved it slightly. Who knows how that's going to look. I mean, I guess technically, if I just run this, our nature scene's going to be gone. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad spot for it. Hopefully, if I bring it close enough to the screen, I can shrink it. Ugh. Okay. Ooh, it went gray. That's not good. It's not supposed to go gray. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, because we're averaging the Y. I don't know. Should I just wrap it in an integer? I think I tried wrapping this in an integer and it didn't make the warning go away. If I did that, I think we still got the problem. And then what is this? XR server. Singleton object null. Fine. If I run that now, can I kill the audio? Where's the... There we go. And then it goes gray for some reason. All right, well, we'll see if that happens on the headset. Here, again, we still have integer division. So if I do round, what do you think? Rounding? No. Not going to be happy with rounding. Still doesn't like it. For better type safety, what is round I? Okay, fine. So then maybe round I. Yeah, it returns an integer. So now if I run it, that warning probably goes away. I mean, at least it's slightly more explicit. But yeah, see, it's still gonna complain. It's still like, hey, yo, the decimal part will be discarded. Integer division. Oh, because we're taking two integers. I wonder then if I do like float and then throw another, I don't know, I guess this is just exploring how Godot behaves in these situations. No, it's not going to work like that. The way it will work is if I do... Here, let's get rid of the float there. If I treat both of these as float, and then I do float, so basically saying treat these integers as floats, add them together, and then divide by 2. Maybe now that'll go away. And it did. It's hard to see down here, but I can tell it went to a 3. So instead, actually what I would do is, let me get rid of this. and that. So these are both integers. These are arrays of integers. That's an array event. That's an array event. So we add those two integers together, make them a float, then divide them by 2, and then round them off to an integer. This doesn't really matter. Again, I don't. It's fine if it like rounds up or rounds down. If we're off by 1, this is so sensitive and so tiny that being off by 1 is negligible. And I didn't need to get that warning to go away, but okay. Treat them as a float. And then since we have to return an integer, round the integer. Be explicit. Fine. Let me put this on the headset and see just how badly I probably broke something. I'll say one thing is that the HUD is probably too large and in my face now. But that's okay. And then do I have this? I do have this. I don't think it's running, but we'll force stop it anyway. We'll get the permissions ready to go. And it's the first time I'm running it today, so this will take an extra minute, as always. So, yeah, my big 3 complaints from this morning when testing the app was the too far away message, book too far away, just always saying that, and not really giving me proper feedback as to what's wrong and how I can fix it. The book anchoring in the left hand, I'm doing a quick fix for that just to see if I can keep it vertical. That'll be fun if that works. And then bad OCRing, I think I just need to speed it up, right? Like if our first chunk is bad, then maybe we like ditch the first chunk. Like we stop. I think I need a mechanism for, I think I talked about this before in my head, at least. Since we're doing multiple chunks, if the first chunk comes in pretty badly, then have a way of calling down into the backend code to abort the remaining chunks. Obviously, chunk 2 will finish. But then after chunk 2, if we can immediately go back into another round of OCRing, that might be a good thing, you know? All right, done with coffee. Let's switch to water. So I think there's a number of little things like that I can do to just short circuit when things aren't going well, so we can get onto like a new round of OCRing to actually fix things. And just as rapidly as possible, get a decent OCR event. Wow, this is going slower than normal. Let's see here. Build successful. Okay. Yeah, I wonder, what could I do there? Like, how do I detect that that first chunk wasn't a good chunk? But okay, let me launch the headset here and see how right I am about how broken this will be. It's thinking. Still thinking. Oops, sorry about that. A little bit of noise. Let me get a book in front of me. The headset is being weird. Hold on. You know, in theory, you can do everything with your hands in the VR headset, but I find sometimes you just need a controller. Quit? Something's not right. Where is my library? Okay, here we go. What is going on? It's not even launching the app. And we're not getting any debug logs, right? Data for slice, set input. This is like hanging or something. Let's quit that. Okay. Let's launch the app again. Give it a moment. Any logs at all? This can't be right. 11:39. Yeah, these logs are from minutes ago. So whatever's going on, it's just not even launching. This is probably time for ADB. Let me see if I already have it. History, type grep ADB. I forget that the history here doesn't work. Let's do control insert. Not running. Okay. Doesn't have a process ID. And again, it's frozen in the apps. Something's really not right. All right, quit. Let me just remove it, uninstall the app. And then can I restart the headset just for the heck of it? All right, headset's powering down. Powering back up. It's thinking. See, it says PC connected. But that's a link. I don't think, hold on. I might as well try to see if Meta wants to play nice. Let's see. Not what I wanted. Okay, devices. Yeah, see, it's still not letting me cast. When I relaunch the headset, a bunch of messages come up real quick, and I can't click on one of them quick enough. And I think one of them is one that I need to click on in order to allow for things to work. All right. Let's try this again. Maybe I just got a bad build. Okay. While that's happening, I can check here to see like what are my Android tools available. Yeah. Let's use that instead. Okay, so we will just log to that file, and then I'll use this to... Okay, so here we go. I think we're ready, right? Seems right. If I run this now, that's not going to work. Yeah, there's no process ID. The second I put on the headset, it should work. There we go. Okay. There we are. Okay. Maybe it was just a bad deploy. All right. And now I shouldn't technically need... I should be able to just go off of this now. Hold on. We can launch back into the app. Okay, there we go. It's detecting my hands. It is saying book's too far away. All right, let's try this now. Still saying book too far away. So I guess it is flat enough. And it says it's processing. So yeah, the message is bigger. And it's anchored to my hand, and it doesn't matter what I do. The okay. Cool. Well, I didn't fully break anything, that's for sure. Okay, I think what I want to do then... Well, let's force stop. So a number of quick things I can do. Well, let's check the logs. Errors are few and far between. It's interesting that this still... Oh, deprecate. Okay, so this is some... Yeah, where is this from? Texture create. I got this before and fixed it before. Differs in size. Supplied 16, then what is required 32. So something is a different size for a texture, I guess. And then for this, Weird. So we have book too far away. But the rectangularity wasn't there. So... shouldn't it have been the rectangularity that it complained about? Do I not have a new build of this? I must not. I must not have the new backend. Probably because I built for Windows and not Android. So that's one issue. Hold on. Okay. So this logic didn't get tested. And then the other thing is easy to fix, or well, easier to work on. So the HUD. Let's go up a bit more, towards a bit more. Yeah, let's go crazy. And then the HUD itself. Let's go 2 by 0.5. Yeah. I don't know, something like that, right? Whatever. If I gotta tweak it, right? Build's done. I could test again. I don't think I want to. That feels good enough to me. Like, this is going to work. And this is going to do the thing I want it to do. So what's next? Oh, this thing didn't work. I should be able to see the remote scene. Okay, let me run it again then, actually, because I should be able to see the remote scene and see, like, what is the current active position of the book at any given time. And then figure out, like, what do I need to call in order to fix it. And we'll do the permissions here. Oh, yeah, I actually have the logs running. I don't need the logs running anymore. All right, permissions given. Ooh, that is too much. Okay. Not bad, but not great either. So let's go down a bit. And then the text, font size. Oh, here we go. Font size. Let's do 24, and we can bring it forward a little bit. Let me bring it forward a little bit more. All right, let's try that again. Yeah, I'm on. Let's finish this deploy. Let's go. All right, there we are. Permissions up, and too much, right? It's I think I don't like this because it's forcing my eyes to get like cross-eyed in order to see it. It is close enough. Not really what I want. Let me quit it and launch it again. Because I want to see what that starting screen looks like. Maybe I'll change tactics. What if... Bear with me here. Because it was kind of good the way it was before, right? So we'll change the font. We'll undo that. Gotcha. So now we've done that. And then for the HUD, what if we just went like high with it? So we have our spotlight, right? We could bring the spotlight up. HUD notification up. What about rotation of it? And then position. What if we did that? Does that put it in a position where like I can see the book and see the HUD at the same time instead of having them fight each other? And do I like that better? Because most of the time you want the book like eye level or below. You're not holding it above your eyes. So being able to like glance up with your eyes to see the detection maybe is better? Maybe? I don't know. At least it'll be out of the way of the hands, because the hands will be digital too. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's what I want. I told it to stop. Fine. It'll connect when I launch it by hand, so that's fine. Well, now it's way too high. But I am in debug mode, so can I can manipulate it that way. Right, I forgot I could do that. And then the spotlight's a problem because the spotlight actually has to kind of encompass the hands too, right? But then if we, well, actually, that's pretty good. Let me go down a bit more. Maybe that's okay. All right, let's try it. I am getting the page not flat message, which means that it's doing better with that. And now it says processing, so it's doing better there. Yeah. I wonder if the light intensity doesn't need to be as much as it is. And where's the music? What happened to the music? Did I somehow turn off the music? What happened there? All right, I'm happier with this now. We're at least getting the page not flat message more. And yeah, we're only caring about the left page for the moment. All right, fair enough. That's good enough for now. So again, we're going like kind of above eye level now. Which will produce, you know, a little bit better results. Hold on a second. All right, cool. Let's leave that there. And then I do want to, oh shoot, that was the other thing I wanted to do. All right, can I, let me launch that again. What I want to see while I'm in this view yeah, see, this is page not flat. But it is detecting, see, this is the problem though, is I think it's detecting like the desktop, which is not what I wanted to detect, but that's fine. Let's do 3D. Let's do, like, this is just the main scene, right? So if I go into remote, and I look at main. Oh, right. I need the. Darn it. I need the book for this. Right. We got a book down timer here, which has not been behaving itself. I think I have that. I should have that turned off. Oh, book anchor. Ah, I can see. Oh, okay, good. I can actually see the outline of the book anchor, even though it's not visible right now. So if I look at that over here, see its position. Okay, I've got the book now. So the book's position, the book anchor position, or is it the book's position? I don't understand. So it should be anchored. I guess it's its global position, which is not its position here. So that's why I'm not seeing these numbers updating. Interesting. So that's not what I was expecting to see. Padding, so its position is there. All right, well, let's quit. Now, if I look at this actually, yeah, okay, so it had those things. So it's book anchor. Yeah, this timer is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Like, we are losing things immediately. I gotta fix that probably. Again, I have to decide. I think I don't want to lose things immediately. I think for now, I just want to be able to read. So I might get rid of this down timer. I guess I'll have to think about in my head, like, how do I want this to work for people leaving the experience? Originally, my thought was if you put down the book, you immediately leave VR. But maybe I don't want that. Or maybe, again, I gotta put, like, give you like a wristwatch or something that you can tap to leave or enter. But that's problematic, right? For a number of reasons. All right, I'm not going to think about this right now. What's today's date, by the way? 3rd. Okay. All right, so the problem is this. All right, let me ask an AI friend. So, in a VR app in Godot 4.5, I am anchoring a book object to the user's hand using this line of code. I would like to keep that, but I don't want the book to go sideways when their hand is sideways. I want that object to always be facing upward. How can I do this? So I would have thought, set the global transform and then override the Y. The roll rotation while keeping the position in forward direction. Right, so we get the left hand get pose dot transform. So assign that to a variable. In this case, we get the origin, and we set that as global position. Create a new basis that keeps the hands forward direction, but locks the up vector. So we take the origin of I, we get the basis, the beginning Z, I guess, the basis Z. We get the up vector, world vector up. Okay, see, this is somewhat similar to what I was doing before. So, like, so HUD. Yeah, so is hand facing up. We get the hand tracking data. Transform basis Z normalized. Hand normal. We get the dot product with up. And then we check to see if it's mostly up. If we're like greater than perpendicular. I guess we could do greater than 0 because negative would be upside down, right? This is just like ever so slightly up. As long as we're kind of slightly up, then we're up. So this is saying keeps the book in the hand's position, maintains the general direction the hand is pointing, forces books up direction to always align with the world up. So this is like we set it. We then go get the forward. Yeah, why did we even set this here? We're not even using it again. So we get the Z, the basis Z. All right, let me try this. So this is saying, yeah, we get the left hand transform, and we set the global transform like I was doing. So that's a vector 3. Okay. Vector 3. That's also a vector 3. Okay. Vector 3. This will probably complain if it's not vector 3. I think they're all vector 3s. So I wonder if that's just what I want. Maybe, okay, so it was a little more involved than just changing its position. See, I knew I needed to like read up on vector math, which I didn't do. All right, let's see if that fixes it. And then what do I want? Well, I think it's already stopped, but let's stop it anyway, and then get the permissions ready to go. Let's see if we fix that. So again, like this is kind of a hack fix for now, just to make it slightly more comfortable. Okay. And again, I wish I could share my screen, but I can't. I haven't used XR Simulator in a while. I wonder if XR Simulator I could use some of this for. Although you got the hand stuff, and that's all annoying. I don't know. I gotta fix the feed though. Something broke with Meta. It's really annoying that I can't share what I'm seeing. But I can at least describe it. Okay, so I'm getting my go find a book and sit somewhere. Message. Page not flat. Come on, find the page. There we go. Processing. Okay, so processing is happening faster. I imagine the page size fix that I did is helping with that. So this is good. That's kind of funny. Now it's like jumping around in weird ways, kind of. Like it's like upside down on my wrist. And... So it's like still anchored to my wrist, but it's like just anchored in the wrong way. So this forward cross right. So this is the same thing. So that did something. The book is still anchored to the hand in all ways, but now it's just upside down. Maybe basis.z wasn't the right thing, or I don't know. What does it say? What are you going to say to me? The forward direction is flipped. Try changing the sign of the forward vector. Yeah, but that's not going to work. That'll just flip it back up. If that doesn't work, you might need to adjust which axis you're using. You might need to flip the entire basis. I'm not sure you know what you're doing. Okay, so anyway, that might fix the issue there. But then, what is it? What are you saying? You're saying I do think my book is like oriented weirdly. But fine. Let's just switch it to something else and see how this just is not going to work at all. Ooh, it is after 12. What does my afternoon look like? Technically I'm free and clear, but I do have a bunch of work I need to do. So I think I will drop off. Let me finish seeing if I can just debug this issue real quick, and then we'll finish for the day. Again, I'm trying to like follow the fun here with the VR app and get to a place where like this is actually enjoyable for me to use as I work on it. Yeah, so I guess the main change I made was like this is now up here, which I think makes things a little bit easier. And then the messages are better, they're quicker, they're faster, a little bit, and a little more forgiving on the processing. You don't have to have the book as close to you in order to trigger processing. So, and I don't think OCR is suffering because of that. All right, let's do those permissions, and then let's see how this goes. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it was actually page not flat was the actual issue. Okay, processing. I don't know. This is better, I think. All right, this is being very dumb. So I think in this case, basis equals new basis right up forward. So I don't know. I'm just gonna make an assumption. So all of those changes, those variants, change how the book model is oriented, but still, if I roll my hand, the book turns sideways and isn't locked vertically. Again, I think we're just looking at the entire wrong thing. I think it's looking at the X, Y, and Z of it. The hand's base is to calculate the forward direction, which includes the roll. You need to work from the hand's position and calculate a direction that ignores roll entirely. Yeah. Okay, but this looks like the similar code to what you were doing before. Flatten the horizontal plane, normalize. All right, let me make this a function that I call into. Do fix, we'll call it move book position. Make that a function, and we can just then operate down here. Without worrying about any of this nonsense. Be, you know, slightly less confusing in any case. All right. And since we're not indented as much, we can, it's more readable, right? All right, so what are you saying? You are telling me to do something stupid, probably. I do wonder how, like, live streaming coding is going to be in the world of AI. Because I don't think it's going to be very enjoyable to watch somebody just prompt their way through solving a problem. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. Let's do that. Let's just comment on all that. So the transform is transform 3D. That makes sense. So we're going to set this to be the origin. I think this might end up being like the same thing as before, but this is also a vector 3, and you are a vector 3. So we take our 3 vector 3s and we pass them into a new basis. Clean that. Okay. This said forward Y zeroed out, and then we normalize it. If forward becomes 0, hand pose straight up and down, use a fallback. Alright, fair enough. Hopefully this at least locks something in some sort of direction, and then I can figure out from there. Let's see. Hopefully this does something. I think I actually have to spend a little bit of time, maybe later today, fixing the headset's connection to the PC. Because I think this is not great if I'm recording like this and you can't actually see me debugging problems. Alright, putting the headset on. I'll just have to talk my way through it. All right. App's launching. It's launched. Page not flat. Where are you saying you're not flat? You should be flat. There we go. Processing. There we go. All right. Nope. Same exact issue as before. It's still locked. Okay. It's being stupid. I think this is like literally the same thing as before. Alright, maybe I just shouldn't waste my time on this. Because I thought this is going to be easy. And I could read up on vector math. And maybe figure this out on my own. Of like what this needs to be. Yeah. Interesting. Alright, well, that's a fun like situation to be in. The book will always stay upright no matter how you twist your hand. This seemed to have no effect. Same issue as before. We changed the object position, but it still moves the way the hand moves in all directions. Give you one last chance. Right, now it's going to probably tell me I'm just doing it wrong, right? With, yep, setting the origin. Uh-huh. Okay, so you're going to sit there and tell me I'm doing it wrong. Yep. I'm doing exactly that. Fine, I'll give you one more try. No, shut up. Sorry, you've lost your chances. I'm not going to listen to this. All right. I think I'm done for this morning. Maybe what I'll do is I'll actually go read the Godot docs on how you do this kind of math and figure it out for myself, or at least figure out like the proper question to ask. I suspect my issue is probably that like my book object is fine here, but when I bring it into the scene, like the way it's brought in. Where's the book? Oh, right, there it is. See how like I'm bringing it in kind of like... I'm bringing it in as like a weird angle for whatever reason. And it's like upside down rotated. Maybe like that's the issue where we're going off of the wrong thing. But even if that was the case, like even if it was a different basis, like X, Y, or Z, and negative, non-negative, like that can't be the issue. Because then I would have seen something fixed. I would have seen something not changing. And I have it under an anchor, and the anchor... Well, the anchor is the thing that we're messing with. And that is a node child underneath the left-hand node. Anyway, I might take another look at this, or I might just try going in a completely different path and actually do the thing that I had put on the stream, which I didn't start doing, which was, hey, can we just take a whole new approach to book detection? Which I think is needed anyway in order to fix several bugs that I have on the board here, including like the titles issue, the fact that we don't get page numbers and page headers and footers right now. I think I need... It's a band-aid I probably need to pull off. So if nothing else, maybe I'll do that on Wednesday. Like now that I've fixed a bunch of small issues, maybe I actually should tackle this. Like, let's rethink how we do page detection of the book. Anyway, thanks for those hanging out. And I will be streaming Wednesday morning.